Yo, 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 yo. What is good? How you living? This is your boy, Nova the Raw Uncut, and I am back for week 10 of your weekly picks for the NFL season. I must admit, this will probably be one of my easier weeks to pick some games. There are not that many intriguing matchups this week. So, without further ado, let me just go and get straight on into it. So, your Thursday night game this week, we got Seattle going to Arizona to face the Cardinals. Seattle coming off of that loss to Washington, a depleted Washington team, mind you, missing 3 guys on the line, no Jordan Reed, and yet still, it took a comeback touchdown from Russell Wilson to Doug Baldwin for them to take the lead, only for them to blow it in that last minute and 38 or whatever it was. Surprisingly, Kirk Cousins driving the Redskins down the field on that defense and whatever kind of coverage that was, man-to-man coverage, on that long pass to Dotson to set up the Washington touchdown for them to take that game. Highly surprised about that. The Legion of Boom is just not what they used to be. Let's just call it what it is. And then on top of that, you look at the offensive line, even with the addition of Dwayne Brown. I mean, it was his first game, so I guess you kind of have to give him a little bit of leeway on that. But look how Seattle's looking. They're just not it's hard to say that you can have the same faith in that team in years past. And even with that being said, even they should be able to handle the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals did not look that good either against the Niners. That was just an ugly game in and of itself. Both teams were struggling lines, but at the same time, one team has a much better quarterback. And that team happens to be the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Seahawks to win this one on the road on Thursday night, even if they don't have Earl Thomas playing. So now we can move on to the next game. That game being the New York Football Jets going to Tampa to take on the Tampa Bay Bucs. There will be no Jameis Winston. There will also be no Mike Evans in this game. If you want to know why, just see the fight or the launching that he took on Marshawn Lattimore in that Saints game last week. Winston getting involved and he's supposed to be hurt. Like, dude, what are you doing? Man, like the Bucs are in disarray. And I've said it time and time again that the Jets have overachieved. They're 4-5. And it's crazy that I would have to say that this is a lot game for the Jets, but they also put up an upset last week against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, the Jets are a little bit more together than the Bucs are and have been all season. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Jets to win this game. Next game up, the Browns coming off of a crazy week for a bye. Going to Detroit to take on the Lions. Obviously, I'm taking the Lions because Browns. It will be hard pressing me to find a game that I'm going to favor the Browns in to win. I've already tried that once this year. I'm not going there again. Next game up, this actually is an intriguing matchup. The Saints going to Buffalo, New Era Field. They take on the Buffalo Bills. Now, I did mention previously about how the Bills got beat by the Jets on Thursday night. Definitely didn't see that one coming. I mean, even though it is a division game. But, man, if there's any time that you would have established that you're a good team, is to make sure you beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And the Bills failed to do so. Now, you hopefully get Kelvin Benjamin back this week. Actually get to throw him into the offense. They can use him. Now, the Saints defense, that being said, has performed well, but last 3 weeks they faced Brett Hundley, Mitchell Trubisky, And the combination of an injured Winston coupled with with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So with that being said, I would have to go with the Saints though. I think this game is primed for a Drew Brees explosion. We haven't seen that in recent weeks. I think this would be the week that offense gets it together, even against that Bills defense, even on the road. The Cincinnati Bengals going to Tennessee to take on the Tennessee Titans. Cincinnati got punked in Saxonville last week. Let's just call it how it is. And this week, on the road still, I don't think things will get better for them. I like the fact that Mariota seems to be getting healthier, involving more of Corey Davis. Mix in a little bit more of Murray and Derrick Henry. The Titans should handle business against Cincinnati pretty easily. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Titans at home. I'm not going to call it a blowout, but it won't be. In my opinion, this game shouldn't be close. In a rarity, Green Bay going to Chicago to take on the Bears, and I am primed to pick the Bears. Look, we gotta say this. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Like, the dude is a bad man, right? It is crazy how you take Aaron Rodgers off of that team and how suspect that team becomes. You forget that this team does not have the best of defenses. You forget that this team doesn't really have the strongest of running games, the best of lines. And then you look at how they got out-coached, outplayed, out everything on Monday Night Football. And it almost makes you wonder, how do you feel about McCarthy as a head coach? Like, does Aaron Rodgers really make it that easy for him? Is he really that good? I'm not going to go on a limb and say he's not, but obviously some things have got to get better for this team. They're not getting them back anytime soon. You got to get your defense together. You got to get your line together. You got to put in better play. You got to, call better plays. Because that looked ugly for most of that game on Monday night. I think it's going to be an ugly affair in Chicago. Chicago's had a habit of handling teams that they probably shouldn't lose to, or they probably should lose to. And in part because of their defense. I think their defense is going to be key in this game as well. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears to pull an upset on the Packers. I don't even know if you can call it an upset at this point. Minnesota. 6-2 Minnesota. Going to Washington to take on these Redskins. Now, Jordan Reed should be back this week. The offensive lineman should be getting healthy for Kirk Cousins, and he's going to need it, because there wasn't much protection for him early in that Seattle game. And this week, even at home, he's going up against a much better defense. Minnesota's defense is legit, and as good as Case Keenum's been, surprisingly, they've done enough to, put up enough points. Offensively, they're not bad. And even though Sam Bradford's going on IR, this week, being active, they do get back Teddy Bridgewater. So, look, Minnesota should be primed to run away with the NFC North at this point. They're clearly the best team in that division, one of the better teams in the NFC. And I look for their defense to manhandle this line, whether it's the healthy line or whether or not it's the replacement line for the Redskins. It won't be close. I'm going to go and take Minnesota on the road. I'll probably say about a 10-point difference in this game. The Chargers coming off of their bye going to Saxonville to take on the Jaguars. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Jaguars, but I will say this. The Jaguars are primed for a run. Their schedule is pretty easy going forward. I think their toughest matchup should be Seattle. But for some odd reason, if there's any game that they could possibly let down, it would be this one. The Chargers defense isn't bad. Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa, those boys can get at you. Their corners are pretty good, but they can be beat. But with that said, I mean, let's be honest. The Jacksonville Jags don't really have too many weapons right now on offense, especially at skills positions other than running back. With Fournette being back in the lineup this week, but Allen Robinson is out. But their receivers have played. The ones that hopefully they get Marquise Lee back. Cole, I think, is a pretty good receiver, or at least has been in Robinson's absence. Those boys are definitely going to have to show up this week. But we are talking about the team with the number 1 defense in the league, so defense wins championships, and we'll see how far this defense carries them. But I'm going to go ahead and take Jacksonville at home. The Steelers going to the Colts, going to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. We already seen how that went down last year. The Steelers got their mojo back in that game. Well, more specifically, Le'Veon Bell did. And I expect Le'Veon Bell to go off in this game again. I'm picking the Steelers because Colts. By the way, Andrew Luck being placed on, I believe it's been placed on IR now. Maybe I have to have a whole nother conversation about that. But man, you just look at the injuries and guys who are out. Like the team you could build with just the guys who are on IR is ridiculous. The Texans going to LA to take on the Rams. I'm picking the Rams because Rams. The team with the highest scoring offense in the league. They've already amassed as many points in 8 games as they did all of last year. And I don't see any chance of them slowing down. Also, I gotta say, there's no bigger matchup right now that I'm looking forward to outside of like certain Cowboy matchups than LA hosting Philly. Because to be honest, if I had to pick a team who should be at least going into the playoffs favored to not only make the Super Bowl but win it, obviously Philadelphia is one. New England, you kind of have to put them in there because New England. But given how they're playing, you got to say the Rams too. They're scoring 30 plus points a game. 32, I believe. Almost 33 points a game or something like that. Their defense is legit, and they are destroying teams that they're supposed to beat now. And granted, if you just take away the Seattle loss right now, and then even the Washington loss, outside of those 2 games, they've been pretty good, if not dominant. So should the Rams be considered a favorite top tier team? I think so. Rams should handle business this week. Not Washington. Was already thinking about another game. Houston, just, man, to see where they were going, and then the Deshaun Watson injury on top of the injuries to Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt, just, man. Giants at Niners. In a game where you got to pick somebody, I'm going to pick the Giants because Niners. The Niners line is horrendous, and as bad as the Giants have been all season, at least they get one remedy game somewhere in this season, and this will be one of those games. So that's all I got to say about that game. And what probably is the most intriguing matchup of the week: 5-3 Dallas going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons at the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Definitely, I gotta say, look, we're at a point where teams are who they are who what your record says you are. Atlanta has been middle of the pack, and it is through no fault of their own. Yeah, you could say the inconsistency of Matt Ryan has something to do with it, yes, but I mean, if there's any microcosm of what Atlanta's season has been, you gotta look at last week's game against Carolina. Drop passes, missed opportunities, I mean, even Julio. Who can believe Julio dropped a wide open pass in the end zone that probably would have won them that game? And I also said a few weeks ago about Dallas. If Dallas's offense were to get it together, their defense can hold and they could look like some semblance of what they were last year, that Dallas is coming. And then they did what they did to the Chiefs, even after that crazy end to that half. And then how they came out in the second half and just handled business on defense, shutting down Alex Smith. And that offense, even though this team has Julio Jones, even if Zeke doesn't play, this line is together now. And if this line is together, Dak Prescott making the decisions that he makes, it's going to be hard pressed for me to pick another game where I would say that Dallas should lose. This is not going to be one of those games. Dallas should handle business even in Atlanta. Which takes me to the Sunday night game. New England going to Denver to take on the Broncos. Now, oddly enough, Tom Brady has had his worst playing, or at least his worst record against the Denver Broncos in Denver. I'm not picking Tom Brady to lose this game. Denver's been 1-5 over their last 6. Their defense is no longer top tier. In part because they're always on the field. Their offense can't do anything. Brock Osweiler is not your answer. Trevor Siemian is not your answer. Look, Denver's just bad. Denver's bad. You gotta call it how you see it. A Patriots team coming off of a bye. Yeah. This game is a wrap. So we're gonna go ahead and say New England should blow out Denver in this one. Which brings us to Monday night's matchup. We got the Dolphins going to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Carolina gutted out a win last week against Atlanta. That and the blessing that was the wide open Julio drop. But at home, I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina to win this game. Still not a believer of Jay Cutler. Even if Landry gets off in this game, I think Carolina's defense is going to ultimately be the difference in this game. Carolina's offense has definitely got to get it together. They look so out of sync, even in their wins, that it's ridiculous. But throwing them a little bit more Christian McCaffrey, get your wide receivers going. Cam Newton, if he has to rush the ball, I mean, obviously that's what it seems like he has to do. He has to be the leading rusher to get things done on this team for offense. But you got to get that down play field open up, get that down play offense going to open up some rushing, which is crazy to say for a Carolina team, but they look out of sync. And even still, I think they're better than Miami. Miami looked okay last week, but not good enough for me to say that on the road they should be able to handle business. So I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina and win on Monday night. So with that being said, guys, that takes care of the picks for the week. I definitely talked more about these games and these picks than I had planned on. So with that being said, we will go ahead and leave it at that. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Look forward to some of those comments. And I do appreciate all the subscribers that have subscribed to my channel. Appreciate all those who watch my videos. And yeah, with that being said, y'all stay positive, y'all stay strong, and I will talk to y'all on the next one. Peace.